We have over and unders. We do the three-word game before the season started. And I said I thought the Lakers were a little overrated, but the Sixers were definitely not getting to 40 wins. And last night, with the help of some suspicious officiating, beat a tough Memphis team. Congratulations on the win. But let me get to this. In Philly, they call it the process. But in all sports, it's known as the process. There's actually two going on in the NBA. There's the Toronto process. We'll call that the Canadian process. And then there's the Philadelphia process. So let me just say this, is that even with dynasties, and I don't see the Raptors, let's start with the Canadian process. I don't see the Raptors as a dynasty. But even with dynasties, all-time great teams, it's baby steps. John Wooden took 16 years to win a title at UCLA. Coach K, 6th year, first Final Four. San Antonio Spurs dynasty, Duncan Pop really started year 4, 5, 6. Shaq and Kobe, 4th year. MJ Pippen, 4th year. UConn women's basketball, the most dominant team in American sports, 10th year. Baby steps, baby steps. Not good. Rebuilding, draft picks, recruits, sort of good, playoff good, eliminated early. Eliminated less early. Conference title. Championship lose. Championship win. Baby steps. So let's talk about the Raptors in Cleveland. So the Raptors, Canadian process. They were bad. Then in 2013, they get in the playoffs. Lose first round. Next year, get into the playoffs. Lose first round. Next year, they win a couple playoff series. Losing the conference finals, semis. This year, though, number one seed, number one team in the East, look unbelievable. Offense is better, and they are, to their credit, the Canadian process is working. 6 years in, this is the deepest team they've had. It's the best team they've had. It's the best coach team they've had. The Canadian process is working. But we also know the regular season and playoffs are different, and what works in the playoffs? Stars and situational late-game excellence. So guess who the Raptors played last night? Maybe you've heard of him. LeBron James. Yeah, LeBron was pretty good last night. It was one of those statement games for LeBron. He dropped 35. He had 17 assists. He didn't have a turnover. Did you see LeBron late in the game? Oh, he still owns these baby dinosaurs. Let's be honest about this. The playoffs are about stars and situational late-game excellence. I got Braun, playa. You got DeMar DeRozan and Kyle Lowry. I got next. In fact, they played in the playoffs last year. Toronto looked like the better team half the time. Do you remember what Toronto star DeMar DeRozan said after losing to Cleveland last year? Here's the bite.
If we had LeBron on our team, too, we would have won. You know, we could say that. We could say that all day, time, everything, but, we didn't. It happened. We got swept. And, it's going to be one of them long summers for us.
Did LeBron retire? Did he evaporate? Well, was he traded? Oh, he's still in Cleveland. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's why LeBron James is still the asteroid that's going to wipe out the dinosaurs again. Last night had a playoff game feel late, didn't it, kids? The Canadian process. Baby steps, baby steps, baby steps. It's still LeBron's conference. Now, let's shift gears. Let's talk about the Philadelphia 76ers. Philadelphia 76ers, before the season started, Las Vegas came out and said they'd win 40 games. I said, 40 games? I mean, Embiid's on minute limitations. Ben Simmons hasn't played yet. And J.J. Redick's past his peak. They don't have enough three-point shooters. They proved me wrong. I lost a bet. So let's talk about the process. And we talked about the Canadian process, which, by the way, always starts with a cold Molson. This is a Philadelphia process. Probably start with a cheesesteak. So let's go to their process. God-awful, 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 just awful. And this is, hey, they're fun. They got two really good players. They got good role players. A damn good coach. Front office making good moves. Awful, 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 not nearly as awful, and now officially pretty interesting, especially in the East. But like the Raptors, who were served a dose of reality last night, let me be the bad guy and serve a little dose of reality to what's happening to the Sixers very soon. It's called the playoffs. They lead the NBA in turnovers. Their best player gives you about 31 minutes a night. They have no playoff experience. By the way, in March, let me list their wins. Memphis, Charlotte, Brooklyn, Knicks, Brooklyn, Charlotte, Charlotte. The good news, if you play Charlotte in the playoffs, you're going to sweep. In fact, I'm predicting now you will sweep Charlotte in the playoffs. Oh, wait, they're not in the playoffs. The last 10 games for the Sixers, they are 7-0 against non-playoff teams. They are 0-3 against playoff teams. They are also the third worst fourth quarter team in the NBA. What did I say 3 minutes ago? Stars and situational late game excellence. Season, they're 1-2 against playoff Indy, 1-2 against playoff Milwaukee, 1-3 against Boston, 1-2 against playoff Cleveland, 1-3 against playoff Toronto, 50-50 against Washington, but John Wall's been out most of the year. Listen, the Canadian process met reality last night. The domestic process will meet it in about a month. It's baby steps. But both Toronto and Philadelphia deserve a tip of the cap. They do. You can look at the Sixers' record against all those playoff teams, as just noted, and I think people in Philadelphia know we're not winning the title this year. We may not win a first-round series this year. This morning, they'd line up and face the Pacers. I'd take a good series, but I'd take Indy. But in the end, Wooden, Gino Auriemma, Coach K, Pop and Duncan, Shaq and Kobe, MJ Pippen. In fact, look no further than the man that owns the Eastern Conference, LeBron James. Cleveland, non-playoff playoff. Miami lose finals, win finals. Cleveland lose final, win final. It takes a long time. Both Toronto and Philly headed in the right direction. Baby steps. You know, it is interesting about, you know, I was thinking about this morning as I was talking about all this stuff. I was writing down how long it's taken for even dynasties, like you go Mike Tyson, Tiger Woods. It is remarkable. The one thing, and Philadelphia may become a dynasty. Certainly if they added LeBron for 5 years, they'd dominate the East. But, I mean, just think about, for instance, the Boston Celtics. Everything they've done right. They got really good ownership. They're well-financed, good history, great facilities, terrific young coach. Just made a great trade. Most think they beat LeBron and the Cavs in the trade. They've accumulated a bunch of picks. Their draft picks, Jaylen Brown's been good. Jason Tatum's been good. And they smartly picked, I mean, Gordon Hayward landed in their lap. They didn't have to give up anything, right? Because he played with Brad Stevens. So think about how right everything has gone for Boston. And this morning, they're not the number one seed. They don't have the best player. And I'm not sure they beat Toronto, and I really don't think they beat Cleveland. Man, you got to love what you do. If you don't love the process, John Wooden, 16 years. Coach K, 6. Like, that's the thing about, you know, everything, what's going to do this. It's where you go to college. It's your networking. It's who you know in the business. No, it's really not. If you want to be great individually, business, team sports, you got to love the process. Because even for the all-time greats, it takes a long time. You got to love coaching in Boston. You got to love teaching. You got to love the travel. You got to love practice. You got to like the games. The Celtics have done virtually everything right. One Gordon Hayward ankle injury, boom. And the process is on hold another year. It's hard, man. Even for the all-time greats, it's really, really hard. Anthony Herron, one of the most honest football evaluators, is going to be joining us. His thoughts on Darnold, Rosen, and all these quarterbacks. Guys, we're heading into the second week of the tournament. College hoops, spring training, opening day. It's a great time to be listening to the herd. Also means warmer weather, and that means shedding some of the clothing. You're not going to be dressed like Christine here with an NBA jersey on and a sweatshirt. And no, this is March, April. You're going to be wearing like you know, what you wear in March, April is
Which
like
is what?
less stuff.
Oh.
And you want to be cut up, and you want to look great, and you want to be, you know. And so you do that with
so that you can't fit in the jersey. Like you.
Yeah, you want to be buff, big shoulders. M-Drive, built on science, nutrition science, safe and effective ingredients to boost your natural testosterone levels. It's an energy provider. It is a stamina and endurance elevator. M-Drive Workforce, M-Drive Boost and Burn, M-Drive Prime, all prominently displayed at Walgreens, Vitamin Shop, Duane Reade out east, GNC and Sprouts. Just refine your Prime with it. Go online, buymdrive.com, code HERD. You're trying to increase overall performance. The weather's getting warmer. You're wearing fewer things. You want to look great. M-Drive, boosting the natural T levels already in your body.